Simon Cowell shocked the world when he announced he was expecting a child with Lauren Silverman, the wife of his best friend Andrew Silverman. Known for his blunt criticism and intense work ethic, Simon had always insisted he didn't want a family, but everything changed when Lauren revealed she was pregnant with his baby. The news not only rocked the entertainment industry, but also shattered the friendship between Simon and Andrew. Despite the controversy, Simon embraced fatherhood with surprising devotion. Yet, his new life was not without tragedy. After his son Eric was born, Simon faced a series of devastating personal setbacks that would force him to rethink everything he thought he knew about love, loss, and family. This is the story of how one child changed the life of one of television's toughest personalities, the birth of Eric, a turning point in Simon's life. Eric Cowell's birth marked a major turning point in Simon's life. Before becoming a father, Simon was famous for his sharp tongue and fierce ambition. He was the kind of man who thrived on work, and he often admitted that a child would interfere with his lifestyle and career. But when he learned that Lauren Silverman was pregnant, Simon's world turned upside down. Despite the scandal, he rushed from a Britain's Got Talent audition to be present for the birth. Watching Eric enter the world was deeply emotional for him, and he later said it reminded him of his late father, Eric Cowell, who died in 1999. For the first time, Simon experienced a kind of love he had never known. It softened his personality and changed his priorities. Suddenly, the man who once lived only for work found a new purpose: being a father. From workaholic to devoted dad. How Eric changed him. Before Eric, Simon's life was defined by non-stop work and relentless ambition. He was known for being ruthless, and his demanding schedule left little room for anything else. Yet Eric's arrival transformed Simon. He became more caring, more present, and more emotionally open than ever before. Even small moments, reading bedtime stories, playing, or simply watching his son sleep, gave Simon a sense of joy that work never could. Eric gave Simon a reason to take better care of himself, and Simon admitted he began prioritizing his health. For the first time, Simon felt that life was about more than fame and success. The boy's innocence and happiness became a healing force in Simon's life, and he began to see the world through a different lens. Eric wasn't just a child. He was the reason Simon started living again. The silent struggle. Simon's grief before Eric. Before Eric arrived, Simon was carrying a hidden burden, the grief of losing his mother, Julie Brett. After his father died in 1994, Julie was Simon's emotional anchor and primary support. Her death left Simon devastated and emotionally lost. He turned to work as a way to escape his pain, and his life became a cycle of long nights and empty success. Simon later described that period as a time of desperate unhappiness, when work became his only refuge. Despite being a global star, he felt alone and numb. His career no longer brought joy, and he began living like a machine, sleeping during the day and working through the night. His mental health deteriorated, but he never showed it publicly. He was trapped in a life where everything looked perfect on the outside but was breaking him inside. It wasn't until Eric's birth that Simon began to heal. Eric's presence healed the pain. A new purpose. Eric's birth didn't just add joy to Simon's life, it saved him. The little boy gave Simon a reason to wake up, to smile, and to move forward. Simple activities like feeding Eric, reading bedtime stories, and playing together became emotional lifelines for Simon. He later admitted that his son's presence helped him through the darkest moments of grief. Eric's innocence brought light back into Simon's life and reminded him of the beauty of the present moment. Instead of drowning in sorrow, Simon learned to balance his pain with love. He began to see that grief didn't have to control him. As he watched Eric grow, Simon found new strength and hope. He learned that life continues, even after loss, and that love can still exist alongside sorrow. Eric became a symbol of hope, a reminder that the world still had meaning. The near-death accident, a life-changing moment. Just when things seemed to be improving, tragedy struck again. In 2020, Simon suffered a near-fatal accident while riding an electric bike at home. He lost control and fell, breaking his back in a terrifying injury that nearly paralyzed him. The pain was intense, and the recovery process was long and grueling. Simon had to undergo months of physical therapy and make major lifestyle changes. The accident shook him deeply, not just physically but emotionally. It forced him to confront his own mortality and rethink his priorities. Suddenly, fame and success didn't seem as important as being there for his son. The incident also affected his family, especially Lauren, who became his rock during the recovery. She stayed by his side through the toughest moments, proving that their bond could withstand even the most frightening challenges. The accident's impact, a new outlook on life. The accident changed Simon's perspective forever. He realized how quickly life can change and how fragile it truly is. While recovering, Simon began to question his former lifestyle, his constant work, his drive for success, and his neglect of his own health. The experience taught him that family and love matter more than anything. It made him appreciate the importance of being present for Eric and building a future with Lauren. He learned that the best moments in life are not found in the spotlight, but in the quiet, everyday moments with the people he loves. The accident also brought fear and uncertainty, but it ultimately strengthened Simon's resolve. He became more grateful, more humble, and more determined to live a balanced life. The near-death experience was a wake-up call, and Simon emerged from it with a renewed sense of purpose. A heartbreaking loss. The death of Liam Payne. Just when Simon thought he had survived the worst, another devastating loss hit him. In October 2024, Liam Payne, former member of One Direction, died after falling from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires. The news shocked the world and devastated millions of fans, friends, and colleagues. Simon had been deeply involved in the formation of One Direction in 2010, and he had served as a mentor to the band members. He watched Liam grow from a young contestant into a global superstar, and their bond was strong. Liam's death reopened old wounds for Simon, reminding him of the fragility of life and the pain of losing someone close. Simon publicly expressed his grief, saying he was devastated. The tragedy also impacted the other members of One Direction, who had formed a deep brotherhood. Liam's death became a heartbreaking reminder of how quickly life can end. Outrow. Love, loss, and a life transformed. Simon Cowell's life has been marked by scandal, success, tragedy, and transformation. From his controversial relationship with Lauren Silverman to the birth of his son, Eric, Simon's world has been forever changed. Eric brought Simon a new sense of purpose and helped him heal from the grief of losing his mother. The near-fatal accident in 2020 forced him to reevaluate his priorities, and the death of Liam Payne reminded him that life is fragile. Through it all, Simon has learned that love and family are more important than fame. He has become a more compassionate and present father, and his experiences have shaped him into a man who now values what truly matters. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share,